Welcome to Hey Therapist. I'm your host, Leslie Ross. With me is my producer, Jay Wesley Lindley. Let's get mental.
So my other topic that I had, the topic that I had come up with.
Oh, fuck.
Is burnout.
Okay, let's go.
So,
What is this in relation to?
like workplace burnout.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily relationship burnout.
Thank
Because
God.
if you listen to the previous episode, there was a lot of relationship burnout conversation.
Crash out.
So
More of a crash.
we're getting giggles because we're talking about burnout across the board, I guess.
Burnout. That's a very real thing in the workplace for sure.
Now there's so much going on in workplaces and the world and the economy that it's creating more burnout because people can't survive. But, I was looking up some information and I was thinking about how do you know you're burnout? And some of the things that popped up a lot is, if you're asking yourself, do you value your work? Do you value yourself at work? Have you lost patience with customers, clients, coworkers? Are you having a hard time focusing? Are you doubting your abilities? Are you numbing out after work? And then are we having some physical ailments that are coming up? I've talked about in previous episodes about, when kiddos are not wanting to go to school and all the things, like they always say they have a stomach ache. My belly hurts.
Yeah.
I can't go. And it's because they don't want to go. Something's going on. Let's investigate what's going on. Same things happen for adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's my stomach hurts because I have a headache. I feel nauseous. Like I don't want to go. So, if you're looking at those things, what is going on at work that you don't want to go? Or are you just a little burnout?
Yeah.
In the surveys that I found, sorry. Words are hard sometimes. So I was looking up some surveys, and there was a 2025 just kind of quick survey. There's different types of burnout. We have the under-challenged burnout, where you're just going, you're doing the same thing, and you just hate it because nothing ever changes. We also have neglect, which is just poor leadership, poor management, all of those things, and overload, which is also usually from poor leadership and poor management, but it can also be your own doing overload burnout. But it talked about 66% of workers, over 2/3 of the workforce that they talked to, experience burnout. 81% of them are in the 18 to 24 age range, 83% in the 25 to 34, and only 49% in the 55 plus. And I was like, how would that be? But a lot of it is because the pay within those younger age ranges makes it hard for them to live. So they're working, they're doing full time, but they still may have to have roommates. They still may have to live at home. They still may have to do all of these things. So it really talked about having independence. You hear a lot of people talk about younger age ranges and they just don't want to work. They don't want to work. No, they don't want to work for pennies.
Yeah.
And even if it pays $10 an hour, like you're talking about bringing home maybe $5-6 an hour.
Yeah.
You can't pay rent on that and eat and have a car and do all of the things you need to do. When people get frustrated with the younger generations, yes, some of them have never been taught to work. Some of them don't have great work ethic because they've never had to work. We grew up in generations where you worked very young, like especially living in rural communities, you worked.
Yeah.
You worked on the farm, you worked for the family, you worked. And a lot of kids in other populations don't have to work. They don't have chores. They don't have these things that they have to be responsible for. So they may not have learned work ethic. That doesn't mean they don't have it.
Yeah.
They just may not have gotten to explore it yet. When you have younger people working for you, mentor them, give them a chance. You're like, well, they just don't do anything. They're not a self-starter. They don't look around and see things. No, they may not. But teach them that. Hey, when you're done with your work, especially when we're talking about these start out jobs, fast food, Walmart jobs, all of those things. Not that those can't be lifelong jobs, not that people don't make careers out of those. But, they're usually the starter jobs when you're younger. No, they may not understand, if they're done with their role, to look around, to step in and do this, to clean something, to do all of these things. So before you start calling them lazy and before you start saying that they're not doing anything and you're on them about it and you're talking about their performance, have you taught them? Have you tried to mentor them? Have you tried to give them a leg up? Because that's one of the things that people talk about with their frustration, with their burnout, is poor guidance. They don't have good leadership. They don't have good management. No one is helping them figure out what to do, but then they're still getting in trouble for not doing whatever it is.
Yeah.
They talked about that. 24% of people that talked about being burnout said it was because there was more work than time. 24% also talked about having no resources. 20%, the pay versus cost of living. 19% talk about taking too much work home because of labor shortages. And then going back to that younger age range, and I thought this was interesting, Gen Z is more concerned about AI taking their job, but they also use AI more on their job. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I'm like, wait, you're using the tool you're afraid of. Maybe don't use the tool that you're afraid of replacing you.
Yeah.
You may be working yourself out of a job when you teach AI how to do your work. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But in a 2023 survey by the American Psychological Association, 92% of individuals want organizations to value their mental well-being more. 92% also want mental health support. 95% want respect. 95% want respect for their work-life boundaries. 31% of people were emotionally exhausted. 26% of people have no motivation to do their best. 23% of people want to quit. And 19% of people expressed toxic workplace with irritability with their coworkers. And then 59% of people stated they worked in a toxic workplace, and that included leadership and coworkers.
Wow.
And I found this little tidbit to be interesting and also correct. The majority of those people worked in nonprofit and government employees where they were more likely to report that they worked in a toxic workplace.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Wow.
So, yeah, I thought those were some interesting numbers.
I was a part of a nonprofit for a little bit, and there was definitely some toxic and just completely unappreciated.
Yes.
Like not even told thank you for any of the work. Well, I wasn't even getting paid $1. And also completely dismissed like I didn't even exist. Now that you say that, like it is so true. Like it's like you're expected to perform, but there's no guidance. There was no appreciation. There was just no like, I don't know, even good communication was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, here, do this. We expect this. Here's the numbers we need you to hit. I never want to be a part of that shit again.
No, it's brutal. And, working in that field that I've been in, in those areas, it is some of the most toxic. And I think some of it stems from, when you're dealing with government agencies in particular, there is a defeatist attitude of it is what it is. Like this is what we get from the state, from the feds, from whoever. This is our jobs. We just do it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It really is not motivational for the frontline workers. Are like, no one cares. And that's one of the things like I mentioned in the statistics, people want to feel like they're cared about. People want to feel valued and heard. And so many workplaces miss out on that. And it's just really important if you are in a leadership role, even if you don't get support from whoever's above you, you can still support your staff the best you can.
Yeah.
You can still make people feel valued. You can still make people feel heard. And it may be you say, listen, we know that we're not going to, like, this is what we do, but this is what we do here. And you are valued, and no one's ever going to give us any awards. No one's ever going to cheer us on. There's no one from the top that's going to look down and say, great job. Y'all are doing so good, but we're also not going to get in trouble. So like, let's take that as our win, and sometimes that is the win is I want to work so just efficiently that no one's looking at us.
Yeah.
Like, let's just stay out of the limelight because you're not going to get accolades, but you may also not have too many prying eyes on your environment and those types of things. It's just important to recognize that. And if you're feeling burnout, what is that about? Like, what are you feeling burnout about? Is it one of those statistics? And a lot of times it is. What support do you have? Do you have someone in your group? And it may not be your direct supervisor. It may be someone above them. It may be someone that you just work with that you can talk to. And, you know, it's important to not be the toxic person in a workplace. It's real easy to go in and bitch about your job, right? Like it's commonplace is people go in and they bitch about their job, but that just breeds such an environment of negativity.
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard to go to work.
It does. It's really hard when you have even just like one bad negative energy that fills the workplace. And sometimes it's really hard to be the positive one. It's really hard to find that balance. Me coming from a background of me being all the above, like I've been the toxic boss, I've been the toxic employee, I've been a negative person. I mean, obviously you listen to that previous podcast, you know, I'm a negative bitch right now. So it's very hard even for myself right now to get into a really good, clear mindset. So a lot of that is practices at home. That you can do to help recenter yourself. That's probably like my most encouraging thing because I do know better. I do know what to do to get myself in a more positive mindset. It's not a forever when you're going through these practices that it's going to fix everything, but it's going to help you cope with it. And also for you to not just throw in the towel on a job that's helping you pay your bills until you can find something else. Because if your work environment is so toxic that you are miserable, I'm going to tell you, please look for another job. There are other possibilities out there. Obviously, right now, the job market is terrible. We all know that. We've heard it from everyone. But there are practices for you to do at home, too, that will help you recenter yourself to be able to go back into work every day. And the thing is we choose that. We choose what kind of mood that we're going to be able to be in, to walk into. I tell people, don't be the glue that I've always tried to explain this. I don't know if I can make sense of it on here without an illustration. But when I had employees in the past, I've always been like, don't be a glue that when someone's negative, that their negativity sticks to you. Be a bouncy ball that when their negative energy hits you, that you bounce back positivity. I hope that makes sense. But the best way to do that is for you to center yourself. Grounding at home, mental clarity before you go into work. Try not to let something obviously put you in a negative headspace before you even get to work. And it is so much easier said than done. It's a practice that you may fail 4 days in a row, and then on that 5th day, it just work. Because you're getting into like an actual practice, and it's not something that you just start overnight. It's hard. And the first time that you start trying to be a positive person, or you start trying to bring good energy into a workplace, or just recenter your mind, everything possible negative that is going to be thrown at you.
That's so true.
I promise you. Like the minute that you want good for yourself, everything bad comes, and it presents itself on a platter silver full of shit. So you have to know how to deal with that and how you're going to handle it. The thing is the one thing that we can control is our reaction. It's really, really hard. It's not easy. We obviously all know that. These burnout stages that we all get in, are we also lighting the match, or are we diffusing it? There are ways that we can help with burnout. I mean, I am burnt out right now. Like I am so burned out. Like I've been in my career for this is going on I think almost 19 years, and I'm the janitor, the boss,
right,
the HR, you know, I'm the lowest on the totem pole of the business, and then I'm the highest ranked as well because I'm the CEO.
Right.
It's really hard because there's not someone that I can go to. So speaking from a different perspective of being burnout as an owner and as a self-employed person too, it's very, very difficult. So I too can relate somewhat to some of this. And then also having other businesses on my plate as well, the burnout is extreme right now. It's extreme. So it is also contributing to all these other avenues of my life and causing a lot of these other things. So it's like, how am I going to process it? How am I going to react? how am I going to diffuse? Those are things that you have to ask yourself. How am I feeling in this moment? How am I going to diffuse this? Am I going to let this small thing turn into a large thing? Or am I going to light the match and burn the whole place down?
And I think it's a good point. Being self-employed, because I lived that life for a long time too, it has such benefits.
Yeah.
You are in control. You are your own boss. But on the flip side, you're in control and you're your own boss. And like, it gets frustrating, and sometimes you don't want to do that work anymore, but then you're like, well, crap, I don't have a choice right now
You
because
don't. That's the thing.
I have to survive.
Yeah.
And if I don't show up, if I don't do this, I can't just take a day off and get paid for it because I don't have leave. I mean, you probably have some savings if you're self-employed, or I hope you do, but you don't want to dip into that just because you're in a mood.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go to work, and you don't want to. Now, if you can't show up and truly show up and do your job, self-employed, not whatever, then take the day, do what you need to do. But when you're in that self-employed space, it does become kind of defeating when you're in the moods, when you're doing the things, because what are your options? When you're self-employed, it's nice to be self-employed. And as you start looking around, you're like, man, I really don't want to go work for somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to take a job somewhere where they're going to dictate my hours, and they're going to dictate my space, and they're going to do all of these things. So how do I change my mindset? And that's really the important part, is how do you change your mindset and work on getting yourself into that better headspace? And that's with any job. And like Riley said, the best time to look for another job is when you have one. Don't get so burnt out that you get fired, that you get let go, that you start having these performance issues that you're getting points for, written up for, whatever your agency or your workplace does, so that you end up fired. And then what? If you get into the headspace of, this job isn't forever, like I am going to look for another job, and the job market isn't great right now. It's just a weird space to be in. But when you start looking, that kind of gives you a little hope.
Yeah.
And it does make it easier to show up at this job that you don't truly enjoy anymore. But are you looking for the same job somewhere else? Why are you wanting to change jobs? What is making you feel so defeated? What is making you feel burnout? Because is it the management? Well, is management different anywhere else? Start researching, these companies you're applying to. There's all kinds of websites where employees rate their workplace, where other agencies rate workplaces, and they talk about the environments. And is it an environment thing? Is it the actual job? Do you want a true job change? What else does your skill set offer?
Yeah.
Maybe it is looking for something completely different. Cool. Okay. Then that this is, what you're doing as your job now is not bringing you joy. It's not fulfilling you, and you want to find something different. Okay. Do you need to go get more education? Do you need to go to a training? Do you need to do some technical school? Like, what do you need to do for that? And start doing that. And it really can bring you a little bit of relief and hope. Maybe you are just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Like for example, again, we live in very rural community, Oklahoma. If you have a certain skill set, there's not a lot of jobs for you. You can't just leave to go to another agency or leave to go to another business or corporation. They're just not here.
Yeah.
So are you going to have to move? Do you want to move? Is that something that you need to look at? If that's not an option, if you are truly like, no, this is the only job in the area for me, okay, then how do we change that mindset? Like you were talking about, how do we get into a different mindset of, okay, this is what I have to deal with? Because a lot of times it is leadership. It's the people above you. Okay, well, how long have they been there? How long do you think they're going to be there? Maybe that's something that you can, I'm a big Office fan. I watch The Office religiously. And there's the episode where Michael starts his own paper company and takes a bunch of business away, even though he knows it can't be successful. And he says, I don't have to outlast the business. I just have to outlast you, and if I have brought you down because showing that you're not doing the work or showing that I can do these things, you'll be gone and I'll be back.
Well, and there's always room for advancement too. Like just know that you could outlast the person above you and you get moved up. So you having a more mindful practice and you being in a better headspace sometimes can further you along in the company for you to change the company for good.
Yeah.
So why not sometimes be proactive
Uh-huh.
in wanting to be a part of leadership to change leadership for everyone? So if it's a leadership issue and you're frustrated with leadership, what would you do to change it? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself these questions that are frustrating you. How would you do it differently? And then if you have a chance to meet with upper management that's above someone, talk to them about it. The thing is that in a job setting, there are situations that we get ourselves into that we've never communicated with upper management or someone of the CEO status or HR, and we've communicated it with other disgruntled employees. That's the worst thing that you can do. The best thing you can do is keep it to yourself, make notes, and then go to who can change it. Your disgruntled employees a lot of times will actually turn against you and throw you under the bus. Every time.
And if everyone's disgruntled about the same thing, then that does give you a chance to say, you know what?
Be a leader.
Has anyone ever mentioned this? Because I have worked in workplaces where people would bitch about something. And I'm like, okay, well, what did they do when y'all brought it up? Oh, no one's ever brought it up.
I've always told my staff in the past, I cannot change something I know nothing about. So if you have a problem with something and you guys are all in the break room and you're discussing the problem, but you never tell me about it, you never tell me your frustrations, then I can't change it. And I'm very open to creating a good work environment. I'm very open to making changes that would sustain us longer, make us more money, make everyone happy. I can't fix something I know nothing about. When it's upper management, a lot of times upper management, they don't see some of this. It's not their job to see it. I need you guys to understand that. You think that, as an owner sometimes and a boss, I have a lot larger picture that I'm having to overview. So I'm not able to see the small little details that you are seeing in the back room or on the back side of the business. So if I don't know about it, I can't change it. I can't make it better for you. And I'm not making excuses for bad leadership. But a lot of times people pin it off on bad leadership, and it's not bad leadership. It's bad communication. Yeah. Someone in the company has not communicated their feelings. Someone in the company has not communicated their frustrations. With any relationship, you have to be open. You have to be an open communicator and talk to someone about it. And honestly, I am more likely going to move up an employee that comes and has open dialogue with me and communication and value their opinion over the one that sits in the break room and bitches.
Right.
I'm going, how would you change it? I'm going to ask you, how would you change it? What would you do differently? Let me see your perspective. What would you do to make this better for you and for this company? A good leadership is going to do that. They're going to look at you and they're going to be open to that. Now, if they're going to shut you down, they shut you down. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe the company really is that toxic and is shit.
And there's a lot of them out there.
That happens. I know that I'm a much better boss in my life than I was in my past because I also have worked for a nonprofit. I was treated in a way that I didn't appreciate. So I was like, guess what I did? I took that and I was like, I don't want to treat someone else this way. I would never want someone to feel discredited and feel the way that I felt. I have to be careful saying this. I went to work for another business that they only wanted to take certain advice, and then when you tried to give advice that they asked for, they discredited that and they dismissed it, and then they did whatever they wanted to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it happens out there. It's not, I don't want anyone that works for me or with me to ever feel that way. I want you to feel like that there is open dialogue, that you can come to me. That's not the case always.
It's not.
But also your delivery is everything.
Yes.
The way that you talk to people, that's where I would say you getting in a good place of being mindful and you getting in a good place of dealing with your own energy before you approach it and before you approach an issue is key. You doing these mindful practices get you in a better headspace too, because you really need to avoid, in my opinion, chatter amongst your coworkers about issues and because this burnout always, in my opinion, when I was always burnout, the first thing I wanted to do was get someone on my side.
Yeah, it becomes very toxic when everybody's just sitting around bitching about their jobs. And if you want to sit around and if y'all are bitching about it, that's fine. Say, okay, well, how do we address it with leadership then? Like, let's come up with a plan. Let's have a spokesperson. Because a lot of times, as you were saying, leadership, sometimes the people that make the decisions have no clue what's going on in the trenches.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because they don't want to. Sometimes it's just because they don't know, or maybe they never worked in that field, or maybe when they did, it was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of things have changed and changes have been implemented maybe by them, but they don't understand the repercussions. They don't understand the workload it's created, whatever it is. So I'm okay with you sitting around and coming up with a plan. Like, if you're upset and everyone's upset, plan it then. Come up with a plan. Come up with a way to address it with leadership. Write a thoughtfully worded, crafted email that's not coming off aggressive. Or if you do get a chance to have that meeting, you don't go in and just bitch about how what's happening is so wrong. I've been in meetings where they're like, okay, we're implementing this change, and someone will just pop off, and maybe they're making some good points in their rant, but they're not listening to that. And it shuts leadership off to be like, well, they're going to bitch whatever, we're just doing it, instead of hearing the reasons that this may not work, the reasons that maybe we could tweak this or adjust that. If someone is going to be your spokesperson, if you will, and they're just going to go in and bitch and moan and rant and complain, that's not going to go anywhere. So you do have to be mindful about that approach. You do have to think about your words. And if you're sitting in a room with everyone just bitching about their job, you are going to take on that. The one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Like, that mold spreads. Even if you don't think your job's that bad.
Yeah.
You may just be like, well, yeah. Well, they all hate it here, so maybe I'll hate it here. Well, but maybe you won't. Like, maybe you could be the change and be that, like you were talking about, be the ball it bounces off of.
In some situations, nothing lasts forever.
No.
Like, it really doesn't. And even in most companies, there's always change being implemented. The most successful companies in the world evolve.
Yes.
That is actually, like, if you can find a company that is constantly evolving and they're evolving to be better, that's the company that is really the company that listens to their employees. Typically, that is a company that is having these focus groups and they're having these meetings and what can we do to be better? That's the type of place that you really want to be a part of. If you're the type that is quick to burn out because you're not being challenged, or quick to burn out because you find an issue with everything. And some of you, is from my experience from past employees, it wouldn't matter if the road was paved in 24 karat gold. Your own personal life is such shit that you carry it over into work. So that is also a topic I would like to bring up, because a lot of burnout doesn't actually exist because of actual company problems. It's actually burnout from your own personal life and you not knowing how to separate the two. And it's something that I struggled with for years, of learning how to, when I walked through the threshold at work, that there was a work life that I had. And then as soon as I walked out of that threshold, it turned off. And that's where my personal life lived. And those two did not cross. It was a very hard thing for me to get to. But you really do have to do that. You bring in your personal life if you're having home life issues, husband, wife, whatever you're dealing with. If you're bringing that into the workplace and that energy, you've had a fight or you've had this or whatever, you're bringing that into the workplace. That is also creating a very cloudy water for you. And cloudy water is what I'm referring to, is your actual mental space. Yeah. So that's what I'm referring to, is you're letting that be a part of the work environment too. So then you don't know the difference between work burnout and home life burnout. And there is just a crossover. I've dealt with that many times. I recently was dealing with that at one of my jobs, and I immediately was able to decipher that and just say, hey, you've got some personal things that you need to deal with, and those personal things are melting over into this, and people can feel it. People can feel that energy off of you, and you may need to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens. It's a lot of times our work family is sometimes our only family that we have, and sometimes our work family is people that we're closer to because we're with them 8+ hours a day.
Yeah, you spend the most time with them.
You spend every day with these people, 5 days a week, sometimes 4. sometimes 6, 7. You never know.
Exactly.
But like, that's where mindfulness comes into play of like, how can I learn how to separate these two? I don't want to hear my partner talk about their work all the time. There's nothing more off-putting than you completely bringing that into our relationship all the time. I don't like it. And that's something that I am very, very mindful of, even in my dating, is I make it very, forthcoming. This is what I do. I do my best not to bring it in. And a lot of times someone will say, if I'm dating them, how was your day? My day was great. It was very busy. Well, did anything happen? Yes, it did happen, but I don't want to bring that into this because I don't believe that should be something that your partner has to take a part in my opinion. Like, I just don't. I believe that work life should stay work and family and home life should stay that, just as it is. And you mixing the two can become very toxic for your home life. I do believe that you do want to tell your partner things, and that's completely fine. I think that that's human, and it's human nature to do that. But burnout can happen on both sides, and you have to know how to separate that. And is one or the other flowing in to one of, are they mixing?
Yeah. Especially if you come home, if you are miserable at your work and you're coming home every day bitching to your partner about how miserable you are at work and how you hate it there and how and just is the same thing every day. Your partner can't fix that. And maybe they're saying, well, you should look for another job. Maybe you should check this out. Maybe you should do that. And you're just like, nah, I can't, and you're so negative about it. It really can impact your relationship because, your partner probably wants to be supportive.
Yeah.
But when you're just being negative and you're coming home miserable and it's an all the time thing, it definitely can impact your relationship for sure. So it is important for the work-life balance to keep that work. And it's a boundary you have to set for yourself with work and with home.
Absolutely.
Like, don't let work violate your time if that's not part of your job.
Yeah.
We work 8 to 5.
Yeah.
And I do not expect my staff to do anything before 8 or after 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes, do we have to? Yes. It is a rare occasion because we work 8 to 5. Don't work yourself to death for a company that's not your own.
Yeah.
Like, they actually don't care about you.
They do not.
I don't care what they say.
They do not care.
I don't care what they're presenting.
Mm-mm.
They may have better mental health things. They may do more than other companies do, but you are replaceable.
Everyone's replaceable.
All replaceable at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
And some states are at-will states. Some states are not. So in those states, they have to give cause to fire you. In at-will states, like Oklahoma is, they don't have to have a reason.
Yeah.
Your workplace can walk in and be like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Get your shit and get out. Even though you've put in all this time, even though you've been a dedicated, hardworking employee, even though you've had loyalty to this company, they do not care.
It's true.
So why are you caring so much? Now, I am not saying don't care about your job. I'm not saying don't go in and do your best and have pride in your work and take care of whatever you do, customers, clients, patients, the chicken, I don't know, whatever you do. I'm not saying don't have pride in your work. Don't enjoy your work. I'm not saying don't have loyalty to your company. What I'm saying is most companies do not care about you. You will be replaced. So why are you killing yourself for a company that does not care about you?
Yeah.
Set that boundary because most of the time, the harder you work will not be recognized. You will just have to work harder because they know they can put work on you.
Yeah.
They know you don't have good boundaries. They know you won't say no. They know all of these things. So you're going to look around and start getting frustrated at all these workers who aren't working as hard, who aren't asked to do as much. And you're busting your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be mad about that when really it's an issue you created.
Yep.
Set those boundaries with your workplace. Set those boundaries with yourself.
Yep.
Again, you could have a lot of pride in your work, and you should. You should be proud of the job you do just about every day. I'm not going to say every day because everybody has an off day. Maybe you have an off week. Most days you should have pride in the job you put in. And you know what? I'm leaving work today, and I did as much as I could.
Yeah.
With the time that I had. We're going to set that boundary. We're not going to work extra hours because nobody cares if you're working extra hours. We're not going to kill ourselves to get things done. We're going to get done what we can get done in the workday, and we're going to leave it. I've always created a thing with my workplace, whether it's been with a notebook when I was in private practice or my badges when I've worked in places that have badges. When I take the badge off, work is within that badge.
Yeah.
So that badge gets put in my purse or it gets put in my car, and when I take it off, so does the stress of the work.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to not carry that with me anymore because it's all inside that badge.
Yep.
When I put it back on, work, it's game on. Let's do it. You have to set those boundaries, and you have to know within yourself. Like, some people are just really, really hard workers. They want to do a great job and they want to get everything done. You're not going to.
No.
Because again, we talked about in the statistics we have, there's more work than time in the day. There's more work than workers to do it. So you're going to have a workload that's probably bigger than what you can manage.
Yeah.
So manage what you can.
Yes.
Make priority list. Set yourself a priority list. Keep a notebook or however you keep your things, and get must do's down to need to do's.
Yeah.
And that's how you work. You don't just willy-nilly throw through. If somebody comes in and says, well, I need you to do this right now. Why? Does it really need to be done right now, or can I add it to my list?
Yeah. And it's okay to ask that.
Of course.
Like, don't just assume just because they're coming in with some kind of hastiness or whatever, that you are supposed to do that. Like, it's okay to say, is this actually imperative to be done right now? Or can this wait because I have this list over here that I need to get done? And 90% of the time, they're going to look at you and go, oh, no, just whenever you have a chance. Guaranteed every time, unless it's like a priority. And they should tell you why it's a priority if they're asking you to do it.
Yep. Not because they forgot. And sometimes their lack of planning is your emergency.
Yep.
Depending on the leadership style.
Yeah.
And some of those leaders are just like that, where they're always going to come in. So you manage your schedule that way. If you know that they didn't get their shit done, and on Tuesday or Wednesday, they're going to pop in your office and be like, I need to do this right now, then block that time.
Time management.
You know that it's coming. So you just say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to delve into anything right now because I know they're fixing to pop their head in here and tell me to get something done right now. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll manage with that. But you have to prioritize your time and your space and take real breaks. That's another thing that people fail to do. Well, I don't have time for a break. I don't.
Yes, you do.
You do.
You do. And it's actually illegal for you not to.
Right.
Like the company is required to give you those breaks when you're working for a company. Like my company that I own, a little different. But with an actual company that has they have bylaws and legal teams that they have to abide by. And they are required. And take your 10-minute break. Take it every freaking time. Even if you just go sit and do nothing.
That's right.
Take your break. That is part of mindfulness practice. And that's part of you taking care of yourself and could help you with this burnout. Some of you are creating your own burnout.
Yes.
I 100% agree that you are doing this to yourself. So the question to ask yourself is, am I working to live or am I living to work? Ask yourself those questions, because if you're living to work, I want you to think about it. Think about it, because there's more to life than you just work.
Yes.
There's more to life than that.
Even if you love your job,
it doesn't matter.
Love what you're doing, there's so much more to life.
There's so much more to life.
And there should be, because what are you neglecting? Are you neglecting your family? Are you neglecting your partner? Because work is more important. Work is never because work's not going to be there. They could fire you tomorrow. The company you work for could close down. There's so many things that could happen that job is not going to be there.
You also could be injured.
Absolutely.
So even without the job, you could be injured and you not even know how to process any of it, because you don't even know.
You have no hobbies.
There's no hobbies. There's no work-life balance. Work-life balance is really hard. Learning these practices will help you with that. With self-employed, if there's anyone that listens to our podcast that is self-employed, work-life balance is, I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist. It's very, very difficult.
It's hard.
It's probably the most difficult thing. And I have heard others of self-employed that are very, very large CEOs and own their own companies, and they don't believe in work-life balance. For the self-employed, I 100% agree. and I hate to say that. It is extremely hard as a self-employed person to have work-life balance. For anyone else that works for a company, it is absolutely necessary. If you work for me, I want you to have work-life balance. I don't get to. That's the choice I made. The choice being the owner and the CEO of my life and my business is me not choosing to have that. So that was the choice that I made. I don't want that to be misinterpreted on here. I don't want to, because everyone's like, oh, well, you can do that. You get to make the choice. The choice really isn't mine to make sometimes, because I have to make sure the company succeeds so that my employees can get paid.
Yeah, you may have to answer a phone call at 8 o'clock at night. You may have
there
to
are things like that. That's
go in on the weekends.
Yes.
You may have, because it is your baby. You got to rock it.
I have to make sure that baby breathes, eats, sleeps around the clock. That is almost non-existent.
But you still have hobbies.
I do.
You still
I do my
exercise.
best.
You still
do my
the
best.
things that you know you need to do.
Absolutely.
To have that. And you may still have your phone. You may still be, but you may go for a run.
Exactly.
And in that 30 minutes, you don't answer your phone.
That's exactly.
Whatever it is. Like,
that's what I was going to say. Like, I do my best. And like, even my friends that own companies, like, they're the same. Like, I may have like 4 days that I get to run in a row, and then I may not get to run again for like 5. I mean, and it's like that all the time with me. Like, I don't get to have as a consistent schedule as I would like to have in my like personal life, but I do get to have it. So I don't want to say, oh my God, all I ever do is work, and no one does as much as no, that's not what I'm saying. So like I said, I don't want that to be misinterpreted, but there are phone calls I have to take past 6 o'clock. There are emails that I have to send. There are times that I'm sitting in my desk recently I was in my office at 4 a.m. sending emails. Did I want to be doing that? Absolutely not. I wanted to be sleeping at least another hour, because I would love to have been resting, but I wasn't able to do that. So there are things like that I have to make, where that when you're an employee for a company, I don't want you guys doing that.
No, I don't want you doing that either.
I don't want you doing that. Please learn your work-life balance. Please learn how to manage your time. When you are at that 8 to 5, that past 5 o'clock, like she said, hang your badge up, whether that's a mental thing or it's an actual physical thing that you're doing. You've clocked out, and when you clocked out, that is your chance to walk away from work, and you not talk about it, you not bring it into your personal life, and you leave it at that door. And you walk, I call it the threshold, walk through that threshold and don't talk about it again. So,
and like Riley was saying, companies are required to give you breaks. They are required to give you time off. Take it. Find your policy and procedures, your handbook, wherever it's listed. If you don't have access to it, ask your HR rep. Know how many breaks you get and how long you get. Or if you're not a smoker, you may work with smokers. Every time they go out, you go out with them.
Take your smoke break.
Just go stand outside. Just get some fresh air. And when you take time off, take the time off. And I am notorious about, and I will get in trouble. Like, my staff will get on to me if I respond to an email while I'm on vacation, and they're like, why are you responding to this? And I'm like, because I had to. But I didn't have to. And there's times where, when I went to Cuba, there was no electronics, and it was like a 12, 13-day trip. There was no access.
Did it feel good?
Yes. After the first couple of days.
Was you nervous though?
Yeah. I mean, I was freaking out, but you know what? Everything kept going.
Yeah.
It's really when you take that break and you come back and everything's still moving.
Yeah.
Everything was
Nothing
handled.
burned down.
People figured it out.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Because when you are a good leader or a good coworker or whatever, people are going to depend on you. They're going to come to you with those questions. When you don't respond, they are going to figure it out.
They absolutely will.
And that's why it's so important to truly take that time off. Yes, you are not in control of it, but they will figure it out. For me, I look at emails when I'm on vacation because it overwhelms me to come back to a ton of emails, because we get a ton of stuff. Like, they're not important emails, but it makes the email look really big when you just take 3 or 4 days off and then you look at it and you have 50 emails. Like, oh my God, 4 of them are actually important. So I will look and clean them out. And a lot of times I don't respond to the ones that need response or that is asking a question or whatever, because I am on vacation, but I keep them in my inbox.
Yeah.
So when I get back, I can handle it, because I got that out of office on there. When you emailed me, you got an email back that said, I'm going to be out until this day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer you until that day.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. And that's the thing that everyone I just want everyone to, no matter what your job is, someone else can figure it out while you're gone.
Yes.
You do what you need to do. You put your out of office on. You let everyone that needs to know that you're out of office. You make sure everything that needs to be covered. If there is something that you specifically do, you make sure someone else is doing that. You make sure your workload priority, that is the only thing that you do that no one else does, is covered or excused for however long you're going to be gone. And then you take your break. You take your vacation. You take that time off and you spend it with the people that you want to spend it with, whether that's alone or with your family or with your partner or whoever it's with. You take that time because, again, this company doesn't care about you. They may act like it. They may do some things. They do not care. They are not going to be there for you when you're sick. They are not going to be there for you when you're injured. They're not going to be there for you when you're sad. They're going to be there for you when you're doing what they want you to do. That's it. Be real careful about burning out over a space that it's not worth burning out on.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about before, if you're so unhappy, find another job.
Yeah.
Get on there and just start looking. That will make you feel better about it. Update your resume just so it's ready to go. Even if you're not going to actively look, update your resume.
Get on LinkedIn.
And
update on it, Indeed.
I will say AI, I don't use AI a lot, but for resumes, listen, you have to, proofread everything. Obviously. Yeah. Make sure that the job skills it throws in there, because it will pull some job skills that you may not do in your role, because that's what people standardly do in that role, whatever. It may give you experience you don't have. So you have to edit, you have to create, you have to look at these things. But you can take your resume and say, hey, AI, I'm applying for a job with this specific job description. Tailor it. Yeah. And it will reword your resume. It will set you up. Again, edit, check it, make sure everything is right and appropriate and accurate. But it's going to help you, because resumes are hard to write. And now workforces are using AI when you apply. They're running your resume through a generator thing. A keyword looking at that. And so, if you can tailor it so you give yourself a better opportunity to be even looked at for the job. There are tools out there to use. And like Riley said, LinkedIn, get on Indeed, get on those places and just throw your resume out there. Yeah. You don't have to be looking to look. Yeah. So it's just, burnout is very real, and it's a very real cycle to get in where you just hate going to work every day, but try to figure out a better way. Even if you have to go to work every day, remind yourself it's only for right now. Yeah. Remind yourself you're looking, that you can be better, that you can do better, and then go in and truly do the best job that you can. Find some joy in your work, even if it's just knowing you did a job well. And you may think, well, I work at the chicken plant, or I work at the mill, or whatever. Nobody cares. They care if you put out quality work, and you should care if you put out quality work. And that's the thing that, I really want everyone to focus on when you're in that mindset of, this job doesn't care about me. Yeah, but you should care about your work. You should care about the job you're doing. You should care about what the product you're putting out, whether that's being good at customer service, whether it's an actual product, whatever it is. You need to care about that you're putting out. Even if you don't like your job right now, still go in and care. And that'll kind of shift your mindset too. Yeah. Your integrity. Yeah. Focus on your integrity and what that looks like for you. I just wanted to mention it because I know everybody's feeling it right now in this economy. Like, it's rough. It is. And it's for everyone. It's even like I said, even for myself, being a self-employed person, I do get to make all the calls and all the shots. There is a high level of burnout right now, even for myself, and that I haven't felt in a really long time. You're working for someone, you have to think even your boss could be feeling the same way that you're feeling. So it's just the world right now. It's just hard. There's a lot of things happening. And it's, just be mindful of what you can actually control. Yep. I can't control my workplace. I can't control leadership. I can't control what's going on. I can control my attitude. I can control the product I put out. I can control my personality. I can control my interactions with my coworkers. Even that one you don't really like, you can control your interactions with them. Maybe it's making it less. Maybe it's trying to be more understanding of what's going on. Maybe it's getting to know them so you know why they have an attitude, or why they're so frustrated with work or whatever it is, there's so many things you can control and there is a whole lot we can't.
Yeah.
So being mindful about what we can, being mindful about ourselves, being mindful about taking those breaks and getting that reset and doing all of those things are really the ways you're going to combat that burnout. Thank you for joining us on Hey Therapist. For my co-host, Riley DeWitt, I'm Leslie Ross. You can contact us on the website at heytherapist.com or on our socials at Hey Therapist Social. Hey Therapist is an SEOK radio production and is for your entertainment purposes only. Thank you for joining us. Make good choices.